Yeah, that's the big dog hunt. Hello again, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Kallas Remarks with your host, Joe Staszak, my man, co-host Steve Kallas. Steve, how you doing, my friend?
All good, Joe. Great to be with you as always.
You too. I guess we'll start with baseball today. It seems to be changing quite frequently, but no longer the Tigers, but the Blue Jays now the best team in baseball, and Shohei Otani, five-game home run streak. Some interesting things going on. As July winds its way on down and the trade deadline approaches.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, actually. I think the Blue Jays are the story of the year right now. Um, Beating the Tigers yesterday, the Blue Jays 61 and 42, best record in baseball. They've run away from the Yankees. They're 4.5 games up on the Yankees and 6.5 games up on the Red Sox, who have had, a nice little run coming back from where they were. But you got to give the Blue Jays credit. I have to say this though, they got the Tigers at the right time. Seemed to me like the Tigers were the big favorites. Um, but the Tigers are 1-10 in their last 11. I mean, that's pretty much of a collapse for them. As you know, I'm against the Tigers because I'm not an AJ Hinch fan. Nothing against the baseball players on the Tigers, but it still bothers me that AJ Hinch is even in the league. He knew what happened that year that the Astros treated, and he got a 1 year suspension. So he would say, "Well, I got suspended for a year," and I would say, "Yeah, if that was 1920, you would have got suspended for the rest of your life.
Yeah,
Couldn't have done anything about it." See Shoeless Joe Jackson, but whatever, it is what it is. But the Blue Jays beat the Yankees in the series. They beat the Tigers in the series. Those are two really, really good teams, and they're going to be tough to beat. They've now turned it around totally. I did want to mention one thing about Yu Darvish of all people. I didn't realize Yu Darvish only has 4 starts this year. He's now 0-3 with a 9.18 ERA after the Cardinals. I'm not sure why they left him in, but Yu Darvish was in for 3 1/3 innings. This is last night against the Cardinals, and he gave up 8 earned runs. Do you leave a guy who's supposed to be a star, and when healthy, he is a star? Do you leave him in for 3 1/3 innings, giving up 8 earned runs? Meanwhile, the Padres come back and score seven, but the Cardinals beat them 9-7. So I don't know what's up with you, Darvish, except to know that, they expect a lot from him. The Padres are a real good team, but they're always not quite there. They're close, they're in the neighborhood, they're in the ballpark, they win some games. They can't quite get over the hump. And I think a healthy you, Darvish, is what they need. The 55 and 48 on the one hand, that's only 7 games over 500. On the other hand, as you know, Joe, in today's world, they're going, they're in the running for a playoff spot because that's where we are with all these
sure.
teams and all these leagues. But I think they do need a healthy Darvish. I did want to talk about Otani. I give Otani a lot of credit. He's hit a home run in 5 straight games, but now the stat that's coming out is that he pitched in 5 straight games. I'm sorry, he has a home run in 5 straight games, but he also is pitching. So that's unbelievable, which I understand. And they said the only other player in the history of baseball, Joe, to do that is, what's your guess?
Um, Oscar Robertson.
Wrong sport, but I'm not going to say Oscar is the Babe Ruth of basketball, but I feel about Oscar. But Babe Ruth did it in June of 1921. Now, when you hear that and you understand Ruth, who was a superstar pitcher with the Red Sox and hit, I think, 27 or 29 home runs in his last year in Boston, and then became a Yankee in 1920 and hit 54 home runs. In 1921, he would hit 59 home runs. But I looked up his pitching, and what happened on June 21st, which is in the middle of this 5 game of his own, hitting a home run while pitching, uh, Ruth pitched 5 innings and got the win. He hadn't pitched all year. He pitched 2 games the whole year. One
Right.
was the starting one against the Tigers, which he won, but he gave up 4 runs. The other one I don't remember was a relief appearance, which he won, and he gave up a bunch of runs. But it's a little different. Nothing against Otani. We know he's coming back from what, Tommy John, right? Didn't he have Tommy John? But he's
Yes, he
still
did.
yeah. and good for him, but he hasn't pitched more than 3 innings.
Right.
So he certainly didn't get a win in those five in that game.
No,
He
no.
pitched when he hit a home run. Again, I take nothing away from Otani, but it's hard for me to handle that he's Babe Ruth. Babe Ruth was a Hall of Fame pitcher before he became a Yankee. He was the best left-handed pitcher in baseball, won 2 World Series with the Red Sox through 29 and two-thirds scoreless innings in the World Series, and then became Babe Ruth, the home run king. Um, and Otani's a great player, don't get me wrong, and he's the closest to Babe Ruth in doing that kind of stuff. And his career is his career. I mean, he has an incredible career. We'll see how he comes back pitching wise because now it's 5 starts. I don't think he's thrown more than 3 innings. So I don't know what that means. They're hoping to get him up to 5. You know how it works now. You come out for the 7th inning, you're a hero. I think they're going to change the thing for a win for starting pitchers. I think they're going to move it back to like 4 innings because managers will happily take you out if they think it's the right thing to do when you pitch 4 1/3, 4 and 2.
Sure.
Your team's up 5 runs. All you need is one more. But now they got the bases loaded. We're yanking them. That never used to happen.
Right.
Probably cost some teams some games. I'm not even saying it's wrong, but I'm just saying if you're like a veteran, you want that chance to finish that 5th inning. And this is not infrequent now. This happens fairly frequently. And the pitcher is usually furious, right, when he leaves the mound, especially at 4 1/3 or 4 2/3 innings.
Right.
But whatever. I understand how great Otani is. I'm not knocking him. But I think Babe Ruth probably just did it for a goof and won the game. He didn't pitch great, but he won the game.
Well, yeah.
So we'll see where that leaves us. But the Yankees have fallen way behind. The Yankees are in trouble. Judge is still being judged. They're just not that deep offensively. They're pitching. I just think they're in trouble even with their pitching. I don't see how, I'm a Yankee guy. I don't see how they're winning the World Series. I mean, they had their chance last year, and
Sure.
neither of us thought they could beat the Dodgers, and they couldn't beat the Dodgers.
Yeah, Dodgers
I thought the
rolled
Dodgers,
over them.
go ahead. I, I thought the Dodgers were going to run away with it this year, and I've been wrong so far.
They
One
lost a ton of games recently.
Yeah, one other guy to mention who we love him, but he's lost with the Angels. But Trout hit a home run the other day, his 18th homer of the year. But more importantly, this was Wednesday night against the Mets. He now has 999 RBIs. I don't think he played last night. I'm not sure. I didn't look up the Angels, but it was Thursday. And one final disaster that we talked about briefly, Joe, I think it was last week we talked about it. Justin Verlander finally wins a game. He shut out the Braves for 5 innings. Prior to that, he had gone 16
I saw
starts
that.
without a
Without
victory.
a win.
And that is the longest streak in the history of the Giants, who go back to like 1903, starting in New York or whenever they started in New York. And he's now 1-8. I mean, they say he's been pitching better lately. And look, he did shut out the Braves. They have a good lineup, but they're not that good this year. He did shut out the Braves for 5 minutes. Hopefully this will be a turnaround. I saw the highlights of it. He looked pretty good to me. And also Devers for the Giants. Devers refused to play. Remember the whole thing? And I'm not playing
Yeah, when
first.
he went to the Giants, he's like, I'll play anywhere you want me.
He played first. He played first a few games ago, I think. He had 2 home runs to help Verlander. I don't think Verlander was getting a lot of run support either, but Trout approaching 1,000 RBIs and Verlander finally gets a win would be my final 2 baseball stories for this week.
Pretty interesting stuff. Trout's on the cusp of 1,000 ribs. Devers. I wonder what was going on in Boston when he has a
Yeah.
much better attitude in San Fran. I don't
He didn't
know.
make an error, I can tell you that.
NFL camps have opened up. Anything interesting pop out at you? I mean, I know, Dallas is still Dallas and Micah, they're still dinking around with his contract. And the longer Jerry waits, I mean, he ends up paying premium prices for his guys.
Did you hear what Jerry Jones said about that? Well, a lot of guys can get hurt a lot of time, just Dak Prescott, look what we gave him, and he missed 9 games last season. So, we might have to bide our time. And Micah Parsons, if nothing else, should say, if they don't give him a big contract this year soon before it starts, he won't be back next year.
Yeah, I would, yeah.
I think he's the best pass rusher. I guess other guys have more sacks, but he's he's always causing trouble. He has so many pressures. He is so fast. He
Yeah, even
is,
if he's so fast and agile. Yeah.
and now you have these other guys who are making 40 million. He's just as good as they are. And I'm surprised Trey Hendrickson, another guy who's looking for a contract. And who is it? Who is the star receiver? Wasn't there a star receiver? Uh, I thought there was a star. Oh, McLaurin. McLaurin's a star. He's been lost in Washington, but he is a star.
Nothing has happened yet. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's on his last year. And he deserves Micah Parsons deserves it more than anybody else I know. And Jerry Jones is being Jerry Jones. It's J.J. Watt and Myles Garrett who are both in the $40 million average per year payment salary. Um, Micah Parsons is one of two players since 1982, Joe, with 12 plus sacks in each of their first four seasons. And the guy he's done that with, who's one of the greatest pass rushers of all time, is Reggie White.
Yeah.
I mean, what more can the guy do?
Right. That's
So
pretty
he's on a
impressive.
par with J.J. Watt and Myles Garrett. You're going to start at 40 million
I
now.
don't know what they're waiting for. I don't even know if talks are like, what's going on? It's like, it's weird.
Yeah.
Just another month until, what is the date? Yeah, about a month or so until camp or until the season starts. And that's when Dak was signed. But why, what are you doing? Like,
I mean, the Dallas Cowboys have shot themselves in the foot for like 30 years now. 1995 was the last time they made it. No, I know they won it all. That was the last time they
went to the
were in
championship game.
an NFC conference championship game, 30 years. This will be 30.
Amazing, right?
And they try and sell you on America's team. Hasn't worked forever. They're not even good. Meanwhile, I saw a thing. They're picked to be like eighth or something in the NFC. I mean, I thought they'd be better, but
I think
it's
they're going to be better than people think
yeah, I think
if
you're
they
right.
stay healthy.
But to me, it looks like the Eagles and the Commanders, not the Eagles and the Cowboys. Can the Cowboys be there? Yeah, the Cowboys can.
Yeah,
But I
everyone
think
stays healthy. It'd probably be the Commanders and the Eagles, but you never know. I mean, Dallas has a lot of
exactly.
talent. They were injured last year, and Dak wasn't around all the way.
But you asked me what thing stood out to me. Well, I know you have to fill it, your sports center. You got to fill all these things. You got to do all these reports. But Aaron Rodgers threw an interception on his first pass in like an inter-squad, not game, workout, and everybody went nuts. Oh, it didn't seem to bother Aaron. I mean, he's got to be laughing his butt
He's
off.
won a Super Bowl. You think that
And
matters to him?
and Joe, he was only 1 for 3 throwing
Oh
to
my
Dave
gosh.
Metcalf. And you just got to wonder, his first pass was an interception, 1 for 3 and in the old days, these guys came in fat and out of shape.
Right.
If they did that back then, especially in baseball, it would have been like a joke. But as we know, it's not a joke. I just thought I personally thought it was a joke that they would even, raise anything about it.
Right.
Last year Rodgers threw 584 passes, the second most in the NFL, which was bad for Aaron Rodgers and bad for the Jets. You want them to run the ball, which obviously opens it up for your quarterback. And so Rodgers is in Pittsburgh. The funny thing was, and it's not funny if you're a Jet fan, but the funny thing was Justin Fields hurt his toe or something, and they made it like he was carted off the field. Meanwhile, he was in the golf cart riding next to the guy driving the golf cart. So I don't know. He was carted off the field, Joe. I mean, he got a lift off the field. He hurt his toe. And they said he's going to be fine. It's going to be like a week or maybe a little more. But, he does need the reps. And of course, once the Jets hear carted off the field, they think he's dying or he tore his ACL or Achilles or whatever. But he didn't. I think Justin Fields gives them something Aaron Rodgers didn't get, that real mobility that he has. His numbers were actually pretty good. He was 4-2 as a starter. I think he threw 5 TDs and 1 pick in those 6 games. Um, and so, we'll see what happens with him. And of course, we also, I mean, it's just so funny to think of these guys, Aaron Rodgers, for example, a Steeler. Um, I don't know. It's just funny to me. Wilson, I don't even know what to say about these guys. We'll just have to see what happens when when they actually start
Everybody's
off
looking for
games.
quarterback help. They're doing, well, the best they can. And Russell Wilson, and we'll take him. It's better than
Yeah.
Daniel Jones and Tommy Cullins. I
Yeah.
get
What
it.
about Stephon Diggs coming back? Did he tear his ACL or was he an Achilles last year?
That was an Achilles, I believe. He's with the
Stephon Diggs
Patriots.
practicing after 9 months.
What's that?
He practiced after 9 months.
Yeah, yeah.
Practicing.
Saw
So
him.
I know it's the new whatever it is. It's the new, you can recover faster now than you could 5 or 10 years ago.
Yeah.
I get all that, but you just gotta wait as we just get closer because though I will say this, and you can comment on this because it's an Eagles question. The Eagles lost four of their DBs, including, big play Slay. I don't know if he was still big play Slay, you'll tell me. Um, but that seems to be a weakness in their defense. Is that true, or am I misunderstanding that?
Well, they're trying to rebuild it with young guys. They're going with younger guys. It's hard to say. Like they put two rookies on the corners last year. I know DeGene played a lot of slot corner, but played well. They played great. And those guys just came out of college. They have a few other guys that they kept. James Bradbury didn't really play last year. Slay actually had a really good year last year, but he won, $10 million. I don't think they were willing to part with that. And he went to the Steelers, got 10 million bucks. That's good. Cooper DeJean, now they're trying him at safety. I never liked that. When you have a guy who plays well at this spot, move him to another, like keep him in the spot, play well, and go find a safety. They
Yeah.
drafted a safety from Texas, so we'll see. But it's going to be young. They're a young secondary, so they do have to play like the rookies played last year. I don't know if that's possible 2 years in a row, but they like
I
what
think
they
it is
have,
with
man.
those two guys. I think it is because
Oh,
they're
those guys were home runs. We'll
yeah,
see with the Texas guy, and they kept a couple other guys who were just waiting. I mean, that's their kind of like that's their blueprint, Howie's blueprint. You know what I mean?
yep.
New blueprint. Develop the young guys, keep the core, and draft well, and he's done that.
Oh, I did see a thing on that point. I did see a thing where 10 of their supposed 11 starters this year were drafts of the Eagles. They drafted 10 of their 11 starters. Now that's incredible in
Homegrown,
2000.
right? That's how you build a team. Like, and it's
You
easy to
got it.
say, but you actually have to go out and draft. Like, you look at the Phillies, their farm system produced Byron Stott, who's their second baseman, and Alec Bohm, third baseman. I know Rojas is center fielder, but they're looking to replace him. A lot of these guys are free agent signings. They haven't developed well with the
Yep.
system. That's how Atlanta's always done that. That's how you build your team through the draft, and then you tweak in free agency or maybe make up for a mistake. But yeah, they've done a nice job. Can't draft as well as he has in the last 4 years forever, but
But he
he's
has
he's
for
got
four
he's hot
years.
right now. He's hot. Howie's
Yep.
hot.
Correct.
Good stuff, man. And catch Steve Stuck on his weekly Facebook page. Speaking of sport, I wanted to mention one other thing. The NHL, Flyers goaltender, former goaltender Carter Hart, and his four co-defendants were acquitted on all charges in that case. It started in 2018,
18. Oh, I did see that. Yeah.
7 years. Well, my kids are calling me. 7 years it's been happening. So they got acquitted on all. It was a weird situation. The judge ended up became a bench trial because there was some misconduct by the jurors. And anyway, they were off. They questioned the judge questioned the credibility of the accuser. So and they got 30 days to see if they're the prosecution to see if they're going to appeal the decision. But I guess the NHL is going to look at it too because there's a lot of stuff that came out. It's like the NFL, it's if you break the law, that's one thing, but if you don't, but if you still do stuff that's not quite in line with the character they want their players to have, they still might be facing penalties. But we'll see. But they are eligible to play. Carter Hart may be in Edmonton. He's from Edmonton, and they need some goaltending help. But good stuff, bro. You can catch Steve's stuff on his Facebook forum page. Speaking of sports with Steve Kallas, his videos on westchestercountypost.com. You can find this podcast on YouTube every Friday, and you can find me on Twitter at JoeStazak975 or on Instagram at JoeStazak4799. Appreciate you watching, folks, and have a great weekend. Thanks, Stephen, and I'll talk to you a couple days.
Oh, it was a pleasure, Joe.
Too, pal. Appreciate it. Go.